Mom, if you're listening, don't listen to this episode. Please, please, for my own personal safety and comfort. It's just something that needs to be discussed. And I think that for the gay community, if I had this when I was in high school or college, I would be very appreciative. So please stop now. And if you don't stop, we're not having a conversation about it.
You brought me to the highest mountain.
You kind of shocked me. I thought you were to come in like as that deep voiced man that you are.
What do you mean? Like
this.
This is,
like
I
my
think
daddy.
that my artifact voice actually is kind of how I want to talk all the time.
And it's weird because when you artifact, you kind of like already, I'm like clapping.
Already fucked.
Yeah.
You're
I'm like already
clapping.
clapping.
Ew.
I'm sorry. Like, it's just the truth.
You're already clapping?
Yeah. Isn't it kind of crazy looking at me and being like, he's a twink?
Who looked and said? Who thought?
I think it's a mindset thing.
Being a twink is a mindset.
I think it is because it's like if I'm in the mindset that like I look at myself in the mirror and I'm like, whoa,
That's a daddy.
That's a daddy. I'm a daddy.
But if
I look
you
at
say
myself in the
that's
mirror,
a twink.
I'm a twink. And like, there's not every day I want to be one, but there are like some days like today, like when I put this on, I was like,
in your head, what do you look like right now?
Right now, I kind of look like I just got off the school bus. I'm in 5th grade and I am not looking good. I'm looking 2 sheets to the wind. And
Why are you saying that you look like you're in 5th grade?
I just feel like it's like a very like, I don't really love this top. Good children.
My post-nasal drip.
It's like, it's
so
nonstop.
bad. It's so bad. Like my throat is so sore. But you know when it's sore in a way that
a
you
lozenge won't
know
help.
a lozenge would never help because you know that it's coming from a PND and not like from like a strep throat.
Oh, yeah.
Like you can feel, I can literally, it's like I can tell that it's coming from my nasal passages and tearing down my throat.
Do you feel it in the cheek?
Yeah.
So if
sometimes.
if you press against your cheek, you're like, whoa.
It definitely feels a little bit, puffy.
Oh, that's sad. There's nothing worse than knowing that like you're like slurping, sucking down snot in your throat.
And I've been slurping, sucking, snotting, sliding down my esophagus.
It's nonstop.
Incessantly.
It's non-stop.
Yeah.
And then you get sick, and then you get a cough, and then they do nothing about it because it's not strep.
I gotta get some oregano oil.
Is that what it is?
That's what like the crunchies believe.
Say what you say about oregano.
I'll say
It'll
a lot
heal
about
you.
oregano.
It'll heal you.
It'll heal you. Well, again, let's not pretend to be scientists or anti-vaxxers. But I will say, back in the day, we had a few hippy-dippy friends living with us for a couple of weeks.
We did.
And they swore by oregano oil to heal all illnesses. And I will say, I definitely had a sickness. And that oregano oil did the trick.
Did it just taste like you were eating Chef Boyardee?
It tasted like I was eating fake ass Italian food, yeah. But it was like I put it in water and then drank the water.
Whoa. So like herbed water is kind of nice. That's
It
different.
definitely like cleared everything up. But like the problem is that they were like, don't ever take NyQuil or DayQuil, only do oregano oil. And I was like, I'm going to do both.
Yeah. So you were like, I mean, at the end of the day, you were doubling up.
Because I'm a believer in science. And I'm a believer in ancient medicine.
Yeah.
But I'm not afraid to see that some modern medicine is good.
I would hope so.
I would hope so.
I would hope so. There are some people out there, some listeners that we even have that are probably in the medical field.
I know, and I'm saying good for them. Because I love DayQuil and NyQuil. And if Vicks would like to get involved, call me up.
Please. Because
I love oregano oil.
Will I say that they're not necessarily innovating on the flavors? They know what they...
No,
they
well, that one is...
works.
No, they innovated on one. The NyQuil with Vicks with the honey.
That one is new.
It's delicious.
It's like the honey drop.
That's a midnight snack.
It is. But the orange DayQuil...
The orange DayQuil, they say it should taste bad on purpose. I wonder if that's like to deter people from drinking it recreationally.
Can they go with creamsicle?
Why don't you fill a shot glass half with
cream?
DayQuil, half with heavy cream? Mix that up. suck it down.
I would honestly freeze. I would go so far to freeze them in pops.
Ice pops?
Or ice cubes.
Andrew, this seems like really irresponsible to like go on air and say things like this.
But think about it this way. Yeah, you want to coat that throat.
My throat has never required.
But don't
more
you
coating.
want a little chill on the throat as well? That's why people have ice cream. Their throat hurts.
I used to love
I'm making
Dimetapp.
pops for you.
I was big on Dimetapp as a kid.
I was also big on Dimetapp.
They had the lollipops.
It was tapping me.
You know the Limetapp? The Limetaps? The lollipops?
No.
They had Dimetapp lollipops that were like shaped like bears. And it was like the same dose of a Dimetapp in the form of a lollipop.
Now that is genius.
That is Muscarella, Andrew Muscarella trademark thinking.
All
in
over
such a
it.
serious way.
It really is. It's like, how do you get the kids that are sick to take
But
their
Dimetapp
medicine?
was always delicious tasting. I
Yeah,
loved
always.
the taste of Dimetapp.
I mean, I was addicted. I was
I was a
addicted to those.
Dimetapped.
But thank God they came back with ZQuil. Because when ZQuil came out and I didn't have to be sick to suck, different story.
I completely lost the train of your thought there.
Because like I
You
feel
were
like
taking Dimetapp before ZQuil?
No, I was saying I was taking the NyQuils, I was taking the Dimetaps like when I was sick.
Right.
But you don't get a better sleep than when you're knocked out by a drug.
No.
So with ZQuil, you don't have to be sick. You just gotta
Andrew, why are
sip
you
to
reading it like
sleep.
an ad? Why is that like ad copy?
It's because I speak like I'm constantly doing an ad.
I don't like ZQuil. I like melatonin. I don't think ZQuil, something about the idea of ZQuil doesn't sit right with me. I think it just feels like maybe a bridge too far in the wrong direction of pharmaceutical. Because I'm like, I shouldn't be like melatonin. I almost prefer that. My preferred way of taking melatonin is in like pure capsule form, just like no frills
interesting.
about it.
You don't want a gummy?
Well, I love a gummy, but I'm like, I'm trying to get to sleep. Why am I chewing a candy? I'm trying to get to sleep. Why am I sucking down a syrup?
Because it's nostalgia.
What's nostalgic about ZQuil?
The idea that you're sucking down the Dimetapp or the NyQuil like you were when you were a kid or through your entire life when you were sick. Like, I actually did enjoy the taste of it. So I enjoy the taste of ZQuil as well.
I just think ZQuil is like...
I don't like melatonin. I
think taking ZQuil is the equivalent of like vaping instead of smoking a cigarette. It's like, it's the same thing.
Well, there's a lot of people out there vaping.
Not me.
Not you anymore. Well...
Hey guys, and welcome back to Good Children, the podcast where hosts Joe Hegyes
and Andrew Muscarella
reflect on our 23 years of friendship.
Growing up in the late 2000s, early 2010s.
And all of the nostalgia,
trauma,
and myths about sex that go along with it.
We're myth busting today.
We're busting nuts and we're busting myths.
I don't want to even think about busting a nut right now.
Have you ever busted a nut?
I actually like, why is that a thing? Like, why are we saying busting a nut? Like, I would truly hope that I never busted my nuts.
You seem like the kind of person whose nuts might bust one day, though.
Joe, I actually can't. I'm just, because when you say these things, I'm going to write it down. I'm going to remember it. I'm going to say, okay, so when I'm 35 years old, my nut is going to bust.
But come on. If anyone's nut's going to bust, it's your nut.
It's going to be mine. Because I'll tell you one thing. They're pushing limits. I mean, what the hell? What the heck?
What does that even mean? They're massive?
Which could be an entirely different problem.
A sign of a problem.
A sign of a problem. Have you been to the doctor recently?
I haven't been to the doctor in years.
Now that we mentioned the enlargement, I think I need someone to fondle and cough. You know?
So... So today, what are we talking about?
Today we're talking about myths of gay sex.
What they don't tell you. I think
what they don't
what
tell
they're
you.
not telling you about gay sex.
I think what they're not telling you about sex in general.
Sure.
Sure.
Why are you always trying to make it like I'm trying to speak to gay people? I want to speak to the people out there who are just getting into their sex life, who don't know, who are learning from Twitter accounts and from porn and from TikTok what they think they should know about gay sex. And I want to say, we're here to help you out. We're here to clear some confusion. We're here to clear some names. We're here to clear the air. We're here to make you to stop someone from using a disposable vaginal douche in a Starbucks bathroom on Wall Street up their anus.
I almost, actually, I'm not even kidding, I almost went back and I almost got them again.
Why?
This weekend. Because I lost my own one and I was like, I actually
what was the own one?
So I've been using this like electric douche. When I saw it on Amazon, I was like, this is actually exactly what I need, because there's a remote control. And if anything about me, it's like, I want to experience high technology and like treat myself well. And there was 3 different options of squirt, and I was always on the highest velocity. So I started using it, then I lost the charger. Imagine being mid douche and it stops working.
And this is the problem with America, is like, we need to stop like taking things that work perfectly fine and for the sake of convenience and ease adding a battery to it. Like, you don't need a douche. I'm sorry, so let me clarify this.
Please.
You are shoving that up your ass, right?
Mm-hmm.
Filled with water.
Mm-hmm.
Then what? You're using your other hand. So you have to have that in your hand the whole time, right? You're not gripping it and walking around.
Well, I was gripping and walking.
So
when you're not in the apartment, sometimes I grip and walk.
With just you're clenching around the douche and walking.
No, I have one hand down.
Right, that's remote, what I'm saying.
My
that's
hand's
exactly
on the remote.
What I'm saying. So what, you already have a hand around the douche. And instead of just being able to press it and like use your own hand squeeze the bulb, how weak are your hands?
They're not weak, but steady flow. It's just like
you don't need that much water to douche, and this is number one, douching. You don't need to. Over douching is a problem.
Well, I will also say my diet is probably a problem.
Well, that's guaranteed for both of us. But you don't need, so like the idea of an electric douche, it's like you literally just need to squeeze that. There's no need for a steady flow. What does that mean? I'm sorry. Steady flow?
Yeah.
How long is it flowing in your hole?
Until it's either the bottle is done, or I usually go halfway and then I stop.
Yeah.
I pause. I go. I put it back in. I go again. And who's to say how many bottles worth? They call me Mr. Bottlesworth.
So what you're saying is it's easier to charge a douche. And so your hand is gripping this.
I wouldn't necessarily say this was easier. I was saying that I bought this and I was excited about it. I took it with me to London. I took it with me all over the place. And I wouldn't say it was travel sized, but it was at the time, in the moment, something new and exciting for me.
Okay, I'm sorry that I'm shitting on your douche.
Well,
but so your whole, but again, it doesn't make it just seems like a complicated process for no reason. So you're gonna then have to press a button while you're holding it. Do you know what I mean? If it was a hands-free device, different story.
Tell you one thing, so smooth at the top. It was the smoothest. It was almost, it kind of felt like a moisturized face. Beautiful.
My next question for you is,
sure.
You were going to go to like a CVS and buy a vaginal douche. Why wouldn't you just buy an anal douche?
Do they have there?
Yes.
At the CVS?
Yes.
That's shocking. Why was I even going there to get vaginal douches in the first place?
I've been asking you that question since you were 21 years old.
John, if you're listening, I do want to know why you introduced me to the vaginal douche, because that was from college. He told me in college this is the way to do it.
You were fleeting. And,
you know, I listened, I learned, I observe, and I go for it.
But to bring it back now, douching in general feels like it's a very taboo subject, because let's all face it, gay sex is disgusting and morally wrong.
And Joe, I've been really thinking about how morally wrong it is.
It's morally wrong. It's Sodom and Gomorrah. It's the end of times.
Yeah.
And at the same time, someone's got to do it. It's tough work, but it's good work.
It's good work.
And someone has to do the work. We signed up for this job. We know what the rules and responsibilities are. We'll take it in stride.
We chose it.
We chose to be this way, and we'll do whatever it takes.
So,
when it comes to douching, I feel as if it is one of, if not the most humiliating,
Yeah,
demoralizing,
for sure.
depressing at times
Yes.
events of my life.
Yep.
And it runs the gamut because you are thinking, you know, like, why is this happening? But then you do get to thinking, what's wrong with my diet?
Joe, what's wrong with our diet? I don't know what's going on for you. Actually, I don't know why I grouped you into that with your douching experiences, but I just feel like I need more flax. I need more fiber. I need all of these different things, or I need to just stop
having anal sex.
Well, that's why I'm a top.
You're top now. Well, that's how it goes. I think that's also part of what's interesting is I think a lot of gays will start their journey as bottoms because it's easy to not have to take control. And then I think you say, you know what? It's time for me to be a top. I'm confident now. Mm-hmm. And then what happens is you just don't want to douche.
No.
You just don't want to douche.
I kind of feel like it's very similar, like, and I don't want to equate this to me being a finance major and like doing really well in school and doing all these different things, but you're putting a lot of work. You're putting a lot of effort to get there. And I feel like that's a similar way of being a bottom. It's like there's a lot of work and effort
so
that's being
much
put
effort.
in.
It's actually
and then once
insane.
you turn to being a top, it's kind of like,
oh, I could do nothing.
I could do nothing and show up.
It's crazy the privilege of being a top.
And now you understand straight men.
Yeah, because it literally
it's just easy.
I mean, also for like anyone who has a vagina, it's a simpler task.
It's a simpler task, but there's still upkeep.
It's not as dramatic of upkeep.
No.
Clearing it of shit.
I know that. But there's,
what? Tell me what there is.
Vaginal washes, scents. You want to make sure sometimes it's clean down there. You should never use a scent
on anything.
Well, talk to me about my bum deodorant.
Yeah, let's talk about your bum deodorant. The last thing you need to be deodorizing is your asshole.
Well, Joe, some people want to, and that's why the product is out and it exists.
But it's just another thing. It's just another thing for you to spend money on.
Well, then consider it my money that I spent on it.
I guess so, but what worries me is I don't think you need it.
It's okay if you don't think I need it, but
why are you using it on a daily basis?
Because I want to make sure in my life I have experienced a lot of stinky ass situations, and I don't want to be in that situation anymore. And I know there's other reasons maybe that I had a stinky ass in the past, but right now it's peachy and plummy. So you better shut up. Okay? Anyways,
I think that at the beginning of a sexual experience, there was this desire to be so clean.
yes.
To be scrub my entire body, clip my toenails, scrub every inch of my body before coming in contact with a man. And I think that I remember buying ball deodorants and shit like that. And it was this obsession with someone touching me or being near me and being ew. And I think as I've aged, I'm kind of once you run the gamut of encounters with other people, you really do realize everybody stinks.
Well, it's a mind thing. It's you don't want to be that person that people can talk whatever. You stink. You don't want to be in an awkward situation where they're oh my God, and then you have to address it or whatever. So you're taking the proactive measures to deodorize every single part of your body. I was putting deodorant on my neck. I was doing all this weird shit.
And now it's I love a stink.
Well, yeah. I mean, you get to a point where you accept it. You're this is actually great. So,
well, some of us.
I mean, I'm going to use ass deodorant until the day I die. So I don't really care. It probably still stinks. What do you mean? What do you mean?
It's just how it ended on. It probably still stinks against me. It was you were so passionate about it and then you just folded it.
No, I mean I am passionate about it because I mean I'm putting deodorant in my armpits. I'm not sticking there. When you have a hairy ass, it's just like my armpit. It's a dark, damp place.
I guess so.
And that needs some sort of deodorant.
But an ass smells like an ass.
Your ass might smell like your ass, and my ass smells like mine.
What are some misconceptions you had about gay sex?
Well, the first one was shitting, shitting on the dick.
Yeah.
And I feel like that well, it scared me because even in high school, just the thought of anal sex was mind-boggling to me.
Yeah.
I'll never forget when I found out that someone said that they did anal in the woods and she shit all over the place.
Who?
I think her name was she was a year older. I forgot her last name, but her first name was
all over the place.
She shit all over the place. Like, I'm not kidding. Like, it went around the school, and I felt horrible.
Oh my God.
Horrible for this girl that everyone was talking
Those
about.
are the stories that will go down in history.
Yeah.
Those legacy moments in a high school. Like, I'll never forget when gave a blowjob in the secret stairwell, and it became the biggest story in school.
Everyone's talking about it. Blowjobs, hand jobs. They're talking about, again, shitting in the woods everywhere.
Shitting in the woods.
Like, I heard it from multiple people being like, yeah, like, they went in the woods and like she did anal for the first time.
I don't believe that happened to her.
No, I don't believe it either.
That boy lied. I think she rejected him, and he told the story to humiliate her.
But as a gay
like,
man,
I was like,
I'm not gonna. I can't. I don't want to do that. Like, I'm not gonna have sex.
I also do remember.
I'm shit.
I remember like when I was first coming out, being like, I'm going to be a top because I would never be a bottom. Like, that's too gay.
Same.
That was part of it. It was internalized homophobia and probably internalized misogyny. Being like, I would never let a man penetrate me.
No, ever.
I'll always be the top.
Ever.
Because like, being the top is quote unquote more masculine.
I can't even have a milkshake without shitting my brains out. Can you imagine something entered me? No. It would be game over. It would be toast.
Yeah.
But you know what? Times have changed. And I think that was probably one of my first big myths about it. And then the other one that was like, it was going to hurt.
Yeah, but I feel like my first few times it was very painful.
Well, yeah. I think that like just sex in general is painful.
Yeah.
And then you warm your way up to it.
Yeah, like I feel like the first experience, like I remember the first time someone stuck their dick in me, I was like, get the fuck out of me and never do that again. Like, absolutely not. That was a horrible experience. Oh my God.
What?
I have a story that teeters on worse than any story you've ever told about a bathroom in your entire life.
I'm actually really scared.
Because the first time I ever had anal, I was like 22.
Yeah. I
was working at first time I was ever bottoming. I bought an attachment for a douche onto a water bottle, disposable water bottle.
Of course.
One of those bad boys.
Yep.
I was douching in the communal bathroom at work.
I'm sorry. So you were in how many stalls were there?
3.
That's almost an intimate communal experience.
And it was like, the stalls were like, the door was like, it was one of the least private bathrooms of all times. It was so deeply open. I remember it so clearly. I clocked out for the day. I went to that bathroom. It was very rarely another person in the bathroom ever. But I took out my Poland Spring water bottle. I screwed my douche nozzle on top of it, and I got to work in that bathroom.
I'm in disbelief.
And it is upsetting, and it is hard to think about. Again, and that was the night. That's nice. Like, get out of me.
It's a mortifying experience, like putting yourself in situations like that, whether it's a communal bathroom, whether it's the Starbucks bathroom, whether it's anywhere that you just feel, one, why am I like this?
Why am I like this?
Why am I like this? Why am I like this? And 2, why am I here? Why am I here doing this?
It is.
But it's the price you pay.
It's the price you pay.
And I don't want to hear it. What I don't like is, I know it's a closed-minded way of thinking. Like, a lot of people are like, ew, that's like, regardless. Ew, anal, whatever.
Who's saying this?
So, I mean, like, there are
straight people.
Straight people. The people out there for sure. But I think, especially men, what I still don't understand for straight men in general is like, it's the homophobia that you experience when you think about an ass, when you know that your prostate is up there. Are you dumb, stupid, and a bozo? You're a bozo. You're just going to go around there thinking you're just going to like... Fuck.
It is such a shame to think about all of the wasted pleasure that so many people have because they're afraid they shut themselves off from new experiences.
Or even talking about it. Like,
I know, yeah. I think homophobia stems from misogyny. Again, it's like you're being penetrated. It's like the whole masculine experience is penetrating things. So the idea of something going in you is, like the idea of something, it makes you feminine. It makes you like less than. Which is like that is the issue of the patriarchy, is that straight men won't stick their fingers up their asses. Like, if they just all agreed to do that, I think by natural way of selection and events, things would start beveling out for the better.
I think people would be calmer.
I think every straight man deserves to be pegged.
Yeah, well,
I think it would change all their lives.
I think it would change a lot of things.
I think if you're a straight woman and you've considered pegging your boyfriend, I think you should go home and tell him today. Say, you know what, babe? We'll never know until we try.
Even like a plug, something.
Even just a finger.
Just, you need a little something. You need to experience it once.
Go home, buy your boyfriend a douche.
Yeah, literally. And then you're going to walk him through the process. And you're going to say, good children told us how to do this.
Don't worry. Just play this episode.
Play this episode. You're going to have a great time.
Get them the electronic one.
Done.
No, yeah, it is really, it's a crazy, crazy thing to think. And again, it is, I just remember thinking I would never bottom, not for any other reason, but because I thought that was like gayer.
Yeah.
Like, it was too gay to be a bottom, but it was fine to be the one fucking the bottom.
I'm thinking in terms of history. We are in a
they were raw dogging it.
But yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure there is some version of it, but also diet is very different.
What I'm thinking Mediterranean diet.
Yeah, like, exactly.
Really,
and they were eating like high fructose corn syrup chips and salsa and everything, like every possible.
It just is so crazy that we live in such like a country that was founded on conservatism when everyone knows the men were fucking for
I know,
for thousands and thousands of years, and it was normalized.
It was so normal. It's crazy. It's crazy. I was just saying this last night, and call me one of the chicks, but this country was such a mistake. Like, it is literally no, like, I don't mean that in like a anti-America way. It's just like, when you think about all of the effects of what America has done to its own citizens, to the world, and like, it's just like, if everyone minded their bit, obviously colonialism was a mistake. Yeah, we all can agree. But it's just like, when you think about how it has ruined even the people who colonized the place's lives, everyone lost.
Yeah,
nobody wins. Like, not even the straight white men. Like, they're also losing. Like, it's crazy. Yeah. Like, they won't stick a finger up their butt.
I know.
And everyone else is like incarcerated or murdered for existing. It's like, no one is happy.
No one is happy.
And back in the day, you were fucking at the bathhouse. Watching this back like a month later, like, there were slaves in the bathhouses. Like, everything sucks always. What more is there to say?
It's just saying that the people that are wrong are outcasted.
Yes. People that are right are just miserable.
And
so worried that someone might take one leg up the ladder closer to them, so they have to brush them down as fast as they can.
It really does. It blows my mind.
It blows
my mind. I mean, it's also,
speaking of blowing.
No,
go ahead.
No, I don't want to get into it.
Speaking of blowing, were you always getting blowjobs?
I honestly do believe I was.
That makes sense
because
for you.
You got to think about this. How many popsicles have I had in my day? How many popsicles? How many blow pops? How many Tootsie Pops?
Were you sucking them like a dick?
No, but like, I think that like, you get to a point in your life where you start thinking about them like it. And I'm like in middle school or I'm in high school, and I'm not sucking a popsicle like a dick in front of other people, but I'm thinking in my head, like,
of your own home in 6th grade, you were sucking a popsicle like a cock.
No, but my lips were still wrapped around something. So I was like, I'm going to be good at this. I know what it takes.
You're kidding.
That grape pop prepped me.
You're joking.
No, I actually am being dead serious.
I feel like I would like suck a banana.
No, see, why suck something you're not supposed to suck?
Like, I would just like see if I can get it down my throat.
Well, yeah.
That was the problem though. And this brings us to blowjobs. I feel like for a long time, my understanding of sucking dick was how far can I get that dick? Like, how much can I deep throat? When in reality, deep throating is really not, it's not even the main event.
No, it's not the main event
of the session.
No one could, I honestly could care less. Sometimes I could. I'm like, well, that's
I always
crazy.
am kind of like, when you pick up your head and you're crying, I'm like, this doesn't feel like everyone's having a good time. It feels like maybe I'm just having a good time.
I agree.
And that makes me not have a good time at all.
It's really actually so interesting that we're having this conversation because I feel like specifically in high school, even with my friends, why was I trying to like shove water bottles down my throat? Like I would literally always, I'd be like, you guys want to see something funny? And I would like try to, and I would try
you were like at the lunch table being like, you want to see something hilarious?
I'm like, I'm so straight. I'm like, I'm like gobbling it up. And like, it's like halfway down my throat. Everyone's like, whoa, Andrew, that's kind of really crazy that you could just like do that. And then I would pull it out and be like, yeah, I know. I'm like, anyways, did you see that new Selena Gomez video?
Are you out of your mind?
No, I'm not out of my mind. But I think I would also try to make other people do it too.
That's insane.
It's insane. It's insane. But like, that was the idea. Like for me, I was like, what was I trying to prove?
That
First of all, nothing is that big.
Dick.
Nothing is that big.
Was it? I gotta know what kind of water bottle we're
Obviously,
talking.
I mean, like, there's obviously multiple shapes and sizes.
Yeah.
So you're thinking.
Am I thinking like an old-fashioned Poland Spring?
So you're thinking
like,
Poland Spring big at the top, small at the top, but gets bigger. Then you're thinking Dasani.
What do you mean?
You know what I mean? Because like, you know, like where the cap is, and
I
then it comes out.
Yeah.
It comes out, and then it gets a little bit smaller, but then bigger.
Yeah.
You go right in for it. Dasani though is thinner to start. Thinner to start, gets big at the bottom.
But it has it has a flared top. Dasani.
I thought like it's a little bit thinner at the top and then gets a little bit bigger.
Maybe you're right about that.
You know, I think I get.
And you were shoving that down your throat?
Yeah.
Andrew, how didn't you die? That's a choking hazard.
Well, listen, if I was to die at this point, Can
you imagine you're 17 years old, you die by asphyxiation of shoving a Poland Spring water bottle down your throat to impress your friends at the cafeteria?
Because what I think that I can have to my benefit, which is so sad to even say, is like I grew up throwing up, right?
So
throwing
if you started choking, you would just go.
I wouldn't feel anything. So like that's why like I can do that because I don't have a gag reflex because
Right.
I've gagged so much my entire life in my early stages that there's nothing to gag over anymore.
It's not
the gag is
worthy.
me.
The gag is up.
The gag is up.
Yeah.
So when it came to that, and then I would test my limits. I would go from 16 ounce and go right up to 20.
You're joking.
Joe,
you're making this up.
Joe, I'm actually being completely serious with you. I'm being honest.
In front of people?
In front of people. In front of people. I'm sure that like some of the people that are listening, some of our friends from high school can attest.
I would love if someone had a video.
So yeah, that was like my first introduction to thinking I'm good at it. But what about you? What about
I always thought I was very bad at it.
Yeah.
And I think a pro tip is when you think you're bad at something, you're going to be bad at it. But when you delude yourself, or at least have confidence in yourself, things can turn around. I was just thinking about this. My ideal sexual situation is doing nothing and having someone just like do everything.
You're just dead fishing.
Literally, my massage story is my ideal environment. Like I get to be there. Someone does anything they want to me, and I get to just enjoy it. I want to relax.
I kind of feel like I'm at a point in my life where kissing is enough. Kissing is fun.
You sound like one of those like when like the older queens get onto Drag Race for the first time, and that's what they say, things like that. You're like, oh.
I feel like I'm also like feeling I'm giving like conservative religion, and I'm like,
kissing is enough before marriage.
You don't need to do the deed. All you need is to kiss and hug and cuddle. Sometimes that's just all. Like, actually, I would prefer that.
I'm gonna play your 17-year-old Totino now. He wants to have sex.
I swear to God, if my 17-year-old Totino listens to this episode of the podcast
and hears me say this,
I don't know.
We'll strike these before our kids. We'll take the sex episodes down.
Okay.
Dad?
Yeah, Tody?
I have been thinking about it.
Okay.
And you know how I've been dating Josephina now since I was 15?
Yeah, I love Fina. What's up?
And now I'm 17.
Yeah.
And a lot of kids in my class are making love
Mm.
And I think maybe I might be ready to.
Mm.
But I wanted to talk to you first because I know I could talk to you about anything.
Absolutely. Listen, Totino, I think that you're at a normal age where the time has come if you would like to make love with Josephina. I will say to you though that protection is important at the beginning. Treating her with kindness and respect is also very important. Open dialogue is a must.
What does that mean?
You need to ask, Josephina, does this feel good? Does it feel good for you? Have that open conversation. It's going to change the trajectory of your love experience. And it might not be the best, the most crazy experience for your first time, and that's okay. That's okay. But it's all about feeling comfortable. And do you feel comfortable with Josephina, Totino?
I mean, kinda.
What's holding you back, Totino?
Do you know how you told me that you used to think that maybe you were gay before you met Mom?
Yep. Totino. Little Totino, you trying to tell me something?
I don't know.
Totino.
I don't know. I've been on the internet a lot lately.
Okay.
And I think that maybe I'm pansexual.
Totino. Thank you for telling me. That's amazing. I love you. I love you.
I love you too, Dad.
Okay, Totino. Well, if you don't want to have sex with Josephina, don't force it. Don't force it.
I found a video of you and Uncle Joe from 2024, talking about gay sex.
Now, what are you talking about, Totino?
And I was wondering if you could help me get an electronic douche, an anal deodorant.
Okay, Totino, if you knew anything about the electronic douche, you knew that I didn't want to have it anymore. I couldn't find the charger. So we're not going to get you an electronic douche. But the Beach Bum deodorant?
It's in the hall closet.
Yeah. I got a Costco pack in the hall. Go get yourself some and have some fun. I can't believe that my Totino came out to me. So
I
that
can't
was amazing.
believe what happened when that happened. Like, I actually have never laughed like that in my entire life.
Because in that moment, like, I don't know what came over me. Like, I do think that when we switch into
the characters,
it gets
method.
It does get method because I felt in that moment like I had a 17-year-old who was coming out, and that was so beautiful. Now, Totino. You can exhale now, Totino. Oh my gosh. Wow. But I think that those conversations are important, especially like with parents to kids. We've talked about the birds and the bees conversation, but it's not even like, I would want to hear that dialogue is important, right? Like,
yeah,
like I think that was something I was lacking going into.
Yeah, you actually reminded me also, again, back to this fucking country, because of the way that we're raised here and because of the way that sex is this taboo thing that you can't talk about. It's like when you experience it, you're expecting it to be crazy,
yeah,
and to feel crazy instead of just to like feel good,
yeah.
And so when you do start having it and it's not like the most insane thing you've ever experienced, you're like, I'm doing something wrong.
Yes.
And then as you continue aging and you're like, it's honestly the same thing as like every other experience you have. Like, it's just another way of like interacting with people and enjoying yourself. And like, you get to decide how much fun you have in those situations. Yeah. Like, and it's never like, there, of course you're going to have moments where you have the best sex of your entire life, but it's like chasing the best sex of your entire life every single time you have sex is actually like going down a dark and dangerous path
Of course.
of like addiction.
Yeah.
And that's
And
not something you're ever really like made aware of.
And that's what people say too. It's like, you don't want to be with best dick of your life guy. Like, it's similar to that. Like, you're gonna have experiences that are of that level, just not all the time.
No.
And I think that it's tough because when you go into your first experience, or you go into experiences in general having sex, it's like, how are you qualifying it? Is it based on the porn that you've watched? Is it based on research that you've done, videos you've seen, all of these different things that like, those are professionals?
And that's something else. It is like, porn is crazy. It's crazy frame of reference, and it's literally all of our frames of reference for how to have sex. Like, that's how you learn, is through porn, like especially in the digital age. And what they don't show you is like the breaks and the conversation and the funny moments and the awkward moments and like the pause to get water and like the checking your phone when someone's in the bathroom, and like all of the like the things that make it feel more like you're living and not like having something happen to you.
Yeah.
None of that actual like intimacy of being a person is ever reflected, because why would it be? It's porn.
Yeah.
But like, when you think that is what you're supposed to be experiencing, you're getting set up for failure.
The porn industry is a part of the entertainment industry, right? Like, it is a form of entertainment.
You're
It's
100% right. I'm just thinking about this podcast.
It's just they're actors, they're people who are like, they're doing that. That's their job. So it's like, they're performing, they're do all of these different things. But when you can learn to let go of the performance aspect of it, then you're having your version of your sexual experience.
Yes, and that's
not
you're gonna have the best experience, is when you're not concerned about being like, because that was another problem for the first, I would say, like 4 or 5 years of me having sex. It was me being aware that I was giving someone else an experience.
Yes.
So the whole time I was thinking about how I was being perceived by them.
Yes.
So it was never good.
Yep. No.
Because I was so worried about it was also worse with like body image issues, because I was also like, don't look at me, don't touch my stomach. I was only in my head.
It is a release, and it's like, when you're zen and the most comfortable, it's going to be the best experience. But when you're on and playing a version of yourself that you're not, it's gonna really fuck with your mind.
I'm at a funeral, I'm gonna make sure we're having a good time.
Oh yeah.
Like, I'm gonna crack a joke. I'm gonna make sure I'm having a good time. Make sure the person I'm with is having a good time. That is just who I am in my nature.
Yeah.
So like, when why would that stop sexually? Like, why would I become like a stone cold bitch?
Yeah.
Who like is like, yeah, bro, like, let's go. Like, no, that's just not who I am. And when I worry about playing that role, that's weird. That's playing a character. But when I'm like, I'm here to have fun, I could be sexy while still being myself. And if I set out to have fun, it's harder for everyone.
Oh yeah, because you want to be enjoying. Like, if you're enjoying it, the other person is enjoying it.
And it's even like, I feel like a big barrier for a lot of people is like actually having like dirty talk. Yeah, like actually owning it and like speaking like, because in my head for a long time I would think if I was gonna, I sound like Julia Fox, and then when I'm having sex, I'm supposed to like switch into sounding like Wolverine, like it doesn't make any sense. I would do this voice. And sometimes I do slip into a deeper voice, but I also think when I'm not on camera, my voice goes to like a little bit more of a reserved register.
Same, yeah.
It gets even more fried, but it's not as like, ooh.
There's a reason why there's role play, right? It's like, that's when you can code switch and you can play a role or a version of yourself that you're not. It doesn't necessarily need to be like teacher student, but it can be something that you're willing to like have fun with.
Yes.
And like not be yourself. But when you're constantly role playing, then when is the role? When's the time up? When's the script over?
Yeah. When's the curtain closed?
When's the curtain closed? Because I just simply can't do it for that long.
No. And then it's weird because like then when you're done, you're like,
bye.
Bye.
You're like, see you later. But I think that is like, if you're unhappy with what's going on in your relationship or in your first couple of sexual experiences or whatever, because you're not speaking up, what is holding you back? Because I know that I wasn't speaking up either. I would just do whatever was happening. I was like, oh, I'm so submissive, whatever. Like, the only reason I was submissive is because I was not confident and I didn't want to say what I wanted. But then I got actually the confidence to speak up and say, oh, I don't like that. Or
Look at Demi
this is
Lovato.
what I'm looking for. Exactly.
What's wrong with
Being confident. What's wrong with being...
It's very easy to convince yourself that you are submissive and that you are quiet and that you don't really care. And what are you into? Whatever.
That's open.
Go to. I'm open to anything. Whatever you're into.
Open to most kinks. I'm like,
absolutely
am I not? No.
I'm not. But I was. Because
Yeah.
I was never going to. But I think that also does help you learn what you do and
Yes.
don't like. But I think at your gut, you do know what you like. It's just also really hard to get to the point where you can accept it and not feel ashamed for it. Because I think the things that you like the most are the things that you have ingrained the most shame around.
Always.
Because those are the things that have been around the longest in your head. You're like, no one can know that I'm into that because that's the thing I actually would enjoy.
Sex is shameful for some people. Sex is like not talked about. Sex is not talked about. Friends sometimes don't talk about sex. Like all different things that people are harboring these things. So like, why would you feel comfortable talking to your partner about the things that you're interested in if you're not feeling comfortable even listening or discussing, or I don't know. It's really, I can't believe what we're doing with this episode, because I think it's also helping me realize, like, it's so easy to play a part on apps when it comes to sexual conversations.
We haven't even gotten to
the apps yet, but like it's so easy to play into different conversations or play into different roles or play into like...
Someone messages you, "What's up, bro?" You say, "Not much, dude, you."
Yeah, exactly. Or like,
when have you ever said dude in your life?
No, or like the daddy, like all those different things where... Does it feel organic when you're messaging them? And like when you...
But then there's times
that you want to get into.
Yeah, I guess that's what it is. Occasionally it's like, well, this sounds fun today.
Yeah, exactly. It's more about like your mindset and what you're looking for. And if you're trying to have fun, if you're trying to like not... Because then you're having those conversations, daddy, son, whatever. Like, but like then you have to then perform when you show up or when you see them in real life. And that's not you. So then what you think about the entire time... Is the role. And can you act?
Why am I like this?
Why am I like this? Why am I like this? What is that from again?
It's from Heartstopper season 1. I think that the apps are a segue that, I mean, we've talked about the apps many times, but I do think the apps make it so much worse because of the fact that you get to present yourself as a certain thing. And that was a big problem with body image too, because I was able to, again, present myself as a 2-dimensional version of myself with stats that I could lie a little bit about. And every single part of me was tailored by me. I could Photoshop my pictures a little bit, like nothing crazy, but enough to feel more confident. And then I show up. No, I never did.
You never showed up because
I couldn't, because I was so afraid of the rejection of it. Not like I couldn't face who I really was, so I refused to even give myself the chance to.
Oh my god!
Why am I like this? Why am I like this?
The positive of the apps, though, is that people are open to saying what they want. What are you into? What do you want? Like, but like sometimes you're not open enough with yourself to actually say what you want.
The amount of times where I just was agreeable there.
You're like, oh yeah, like you're the one that asks the question, what are you into? They say it, and then you're like, oh, same. So it's so easy to accept it, but that other person already did their part by making themselves feel comfortable.
I think a lot of it is aging. I think a lot of it is aging. Like, I really do think you don't get confident in saying those things until you get older. I think some people are fortunate enough to feel that way when they're younger, but I think that especially coming out in our early 20s, like, those are like, you have to have the experiences to be able to say, this is actually what I like. Mm-hmm. Because I do feel like I mean, no matter what level of confidence I could have potentially had as a 21-year-old, I would not have been able to say what I was into at that age.
No.
Now as I'm older, I'm like, who fucking cares?
Who cares? And also, it's fine to keep it vague, and then you can say it in person. You're getting down to it in person, and also, it's about you feeling comfortable.
Yeah.
Right. So like, I think with apps, with like hookups, with one-offs, whatever, I think even for me, for so long, I would put myself in situations that I just felt uncomfortable. So sometimes I would equate sex with being uncomfortable. Right. So now I'm at a place where I'm like, let's maybe grab a drink or have more of a conversation before it happens, or like actually establish if I feel comfortable before anything was to happen, instead of throwing yourself into it to say you did it.
Yes.
And you don't want to ever be in that situation.
No.
You
Never
know?
leads to anything fun.
No.
Never
it leads
really
to
does.
something happening.
Yeah. And a learning lesson.
And a learning lesson. But how many damn learning lessons?
How many lessons can you learn?
I mean, come on.
Yeah.
It's like I'm a teacher with the
Rubric.
my lesson plan.
Yeah.
I'm writing them out. I'm like, okay.
Jesus.
5 years later, 6 years later. Crazy.
Have you ever gooned?
Oh, jeez. Oh, jeez.
Are you a gooner?
No, I'm not. I've actually never have.
I think we've been on this podcast on the Patreon before where you have said that you have gooned.
No, I don't. I think maybe once. I've been in situations where the other person has
You've experienced a gooner?
but I don't think I've ever actually like let loose and let go and like gooned. Have you?
I've certainly gooned.
Yeah.
I think that I don't think I've gooned to the extent that some gooners are gooning, but I've gooned.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, like, I definitely will experience it for myself, probably not too far down the line.
Aw.
Yeah, thank you. But I enjoy when the person I'm with is doing it. I feel like this is very exciting.
It does kind of, I have to say, gooning does break down the barrier of self-awareness.
Yeah.
Because you're like, fuck it. You're being fucking weird as
dumb.
fuck.
Yeah, this is
You're being you're dummy
dumb with no brain cells.
baited out of your mind, poppered out of your mind, gooning. Yeah.
Gooning. And I'm like, all right, I can get behind this.
Poppers, are they destroying our brain cells?
For sure.
Okay.
For sure. I'm not
Has there
doing,
been a long-term study done to the long-term effects of poppers?
should we do that?
There hasn't been one.
You're kidding.
No. There is no long-term medical research on what poppers could be doing.
I feel the rush. I'm addicted to your touch.
So like I think that I do poppers a really healthy amount.
Yeah.
I'm not doing poppers on the daily.
No.
Sometimes I go weeks.
I
Some
think I
go
went months.
some people can go hours. Some people are really baiting.
People can't go hours?
I mean, maybe not hours, but at least every single day.
Are people like I can't even ask this question, but like, so I've never really like done poppers while like jerking off.
Yeah.
I really have never. I think I've only
That's
ever
what gooning
experienced.
is.
Okay. No, I've never gooned.
You heard it here first.
You heard it here first. And I think that like I only ever do poppers when like it's either introduced to me in a sexual situation, or like sometimes I have them and I'm like, oh, like just to like help with the process.
Right. Yeah.
But I'm not like often whipping out the bottle.
No, if I'm with someone who's into it, I do enjoy it, but I'm not necessarily. It's honestly, it's the same as a cigarette. If you know what I mean, like if someone's gonna say, "Do you want to smoke a cigarette?"
Sure.
But I'm never gonna say, "Hey guys, do you want to smoke cigarettes?" You know what I mean? Like I would never be the person to say that.
Hey guys, do you want poppers?
Exactly.
And usually the answer is yes.
Well, that's like straight women love poppers.
Yeah.
The way that poppers have become like a straight party drug is crazy.
It's crazy. Just for a minute of
It's
relaxation.
such a fun minute sometimes.
the minute of relaxation. And I thank you, and I know we've talked about it, but I thank you for introducing me to shoving it up my nose. Shoving it
House
up
of
my
Yes.
at House of Yes. Look how far we've come.
Isn't that crazy?
Literally.
And look at how far we've come. I mean, honestly, maybe because this episode comes out in a long time, maybe I'll go back to like the Ogre for Ogre episode and see what we talked about and
Yeah.
like pull some clips.
I'm not doing that.
You get more and more comfortable. You get more and more like excited and confident and ready to go.
Yeah.
But I think it's a pretty wild learning curve in a country that doesn't teach you a single thing about sex, let alone gay sex.
Oh,
Prep?
absolutely.
We haven't even talked about prep.
We haven't even talked about prep. Step up, prep up.
Mister. Use your
Mister.
mister.
Use your mister.
Listen to me. If you are a gay person having gay sex and you are not
That's
on
10%.
prep. Okay, great. And you're not on prep. I am going to come to your home and sign you up for Mr. myself.
I go, I'd beat you up.
I'm going to beat you the fuck up and then sign you up for Mr. Condoms, I can't speak to it.
I can't
But
speak
can
to it, but
always speak to prep.
But it's never, there's no shame around
No.
it. It's like whoever, like whatever makes you feel comfortable. But prep is like, you got to
You gotta
get
do it,
on
and it's free. You can do the at-home kit, or you can do it. You can go to it like a Quest Health and do your little blood work. But I feel like we came up in the age just before prep. It is just very important.
It's very important.
It's honestly the most important part.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's
Viagra.
Well, that's also important. And don't feel shame around that either. Don't feel shame around that either, because it has cured a lot of things. But I do think that, like, reflecting on this episode, to your point before, was I a little nervous going into it?
I was.
You
seemed very nervous. You seemed I couldn't figure that out. I was confused.
Because I don't know what it is sometimes. Like, I mean, obviously we're normal.
I'm glad
people.
You brought it up.
We're normal people. We're regular people. And I think that, like, it goes to show you that there's always going to be, like, you're not going to always feel comfortable having conversations around sex. But yeah, reflecting on it, I was definitely nervous going into the episode for a multitude of reasons. But now I feel like a lot freer, a lot, I mean, I learned too. It's like nice to be able to talk through it, because it's not something that you normally talk through with people.
Because everyone wants to. Yesterday we had a conversation. We were competing for who had the smaller flaccid dick. You know what I mean? Like it's not every relationship that you're in, friendship, anything, that you get to kind of like talk about like the awkwardness, because everyone wants to be like, I fuck and I'm so fucking good at fucking. Like, no one wants to talk about like the weird parts of it. And once you realize that it's like a universal experience, you're like, phew. Oh, it's not just, I'm not the
only person that feels uncomfortable when I hook up or have sex. Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah.
Whoa.
We're all in this together. We're skipping guidance office this week, because this week's Patreon will be rating and reviewing all of your submitted dating profiles.
Which there was a lot.
I'm sorry it's on Patreon, but honestly, there was no other feasible way to like put it into the podcast.
Yeah, no.
Because it's like a strictly visual episode, and I think that our little Patey girls like will get it. Good children to the cafeteria. This is some sick shit. Walking into Chipotle, Panera bag in hand. It's kind of crazy to show them our Chipotle and Panera. Like, this is where the origin story started, with the Panera girls.
Tell you one thing, with the Panera girls, for sure. What do they got at Noodles and Company? I'm always so interested. They have shareables.
Chicken parm.
They have shareables. This is the thing about this stupid place.
True. Just behave yourself.
So I think I'm personally going to get the kids' quesadilla. And I think that's all I need. With a side of chips and guac, maybe? The chips and queso, I can't even imagine getting the quesadilla. Right? The chips and guac.
So sad.
Joe, why are you sad now?
I just saw some lady that was in the Chipotle, and she kind of reminded me of my aunt. And then I started thinking about the fact that, like, my mom used to be a little girl. And, like, then I was like, it's just a miracle, honestly, in this world to, like, even grow up and to like be an adult. It's just like about getting by. Like, it's just like, so like, I'm actually so depressed.
Oh my god.
You just like, you get so busy with your own life, and like you kind of forget that like everything is happening around you, and like your parents are aging and like you're aging. Like, it's just so, it's
the
so,
turn, the tone shift.
It's like, I really cannot, like,
no, it's okay. It's Joe.
It's this time of year. Like,
know.
it's just hard. Are these twist off?
Of course not. Tell you one thing, kids quesadilla takes a second
to make.
But you got rice, you got beans, you got corn.
That lady in there was like, can you just strain the beans? There's not as much sauce.
This is like you with the spider. Like,
and
why are you doing this?
Like me with that lady on the train this morning. She almost took me out. She was so sad. And then she was like, I don't want to. She was on the phone. This old lady was on the phone with her, like, I assume child. She was saying she was going to her sister's on Long Island today. She likes to sleep with the windows open at night. Sometimes she likes, when she goes to her sister, she sits in the garage on a chair, and she opens the garage door so she can just like feel the breeze. I can't even tell you how this, and she had this old lady voice. Like, I haven't heard this voice.
I haven't heard this voice in a really long time.
It's like out of a movie. And then she said, I don't want to go to an assisted living home. I like sleeping with my windows open. I like watching my TV at night. I know I have to share those things with people. And then I was just thinking, like, the fact that we send the elderly to live amongst each other, like, when you spend your whole life building a life for yourself.
But some people do like it's
some
community.
people do, but I know it's community, but like you spend this life like establishing an identity and building a home and building a family, and then you're like shipped off somewhere where you have to be treated like a kid.
Depends. It depends where you. Well, yeah, I guess.
No, it makes me so.
But like senior development.
So that's a little different. You have your own house. You have your own house. I really just want a bite of this.
Have a little bite.
I hope this makes me feel better.
How is it?
I'll tell you one thing. That's kind of good.
A rice, a little beans, a little corn.
One day we're all gonna just be old.
No, I'm not gonna stand for this.
One day our parents are gonna be old, and they're already old. They're gonna be older.
I'm eating like I haven't eaten today.
This is crazy. And we're back.
And you know what?
I feel good.
I feel sure.
I knew that I would.
You're kidding.
I feel right.
Shut up. Like sugar and spice.
And just like that, we had, I think this episode will win a Nobel Prize.
A GLAAD award?
A GLAAD award. And both. I think both.
Okay, great.
I think that the GLAAD Awards and the Nobel Prize Awards should link up for this one.
Okay.
And they should give us a joint award.
Yeah, absolutely.
But until they get that award, we'll see you next week with a brand new episode, and we'll see you on Patreon. But
don't forget to do your homework. Like, comment, subscribe, rate, review. Send it to your friends. Send it to your gay friends. Click that bell. Click that bell. Ring that bell.
Here's what you do. If you're a gay person and you feel insecure about gay sex and you want to have a conversation with your gay friends about it, but you've never broached the subject, send this to them and say, LMFAO, isn't this so embarrassing? And then make them watch it. Make them watch it.
LMFAO.
And then they'll get to this part of the episode and they're going to say, oh my God, no, they felt sincere. It's hard to be sincere when you're gay. It really is.
It is.
You do a good job.
Thank you.
You do a good job.
So do you.
I don't. I fall trapped to it. That's the problem. And don't forget, you can find us across all platforms at Good Children Pod. I'm on Instagram at Joe Hegyes, on TikTok at Be Quiet Joe.
I'm on Instagram at Andrew Muscarella, and on TikTok at Andrew_Muskie. And let me say something. I can't believe we hit 1 million followers on
1
Instagram.
million on Instagram. It's crazy. It's crazy.
I don't even know what to say about it.
We're all in this together. Once we know that we're all stars, and we see that we're all in this together. And we know where we stand, hand in hand, make our dreams come true. Oh.
Everybody now.
Together, 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 everyone. Together, together. Come on, let's have some fun.
The next time I go over to a man's house, I'm actually going to say that and sing that verbatim.
I'm excited to hear.
Let's have some fun.